it was, then I couldn't respond, I couldn't ask, and so that's one of the reasons I don't like church. So to be informal today, the first thing I want to ask is, if you had the chance to ask God one question, what would it be? And then I'm going to ask you what that question is later, because I'm just going to go and pull some information from different sources and see if we can answer your question, right? And so that's how we're going to work it today. Then we'll have the potluck. And so you had a question. What you remember what that was going to be?
Oh,
Or comment?
it was a comment, but it was more. It started the day off reading about the law of attraction,
Mm-hmm.
and then the conversation went into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why I asked the question, what were you thinking before the accident? And not really immediately before the accident, but the days prior. What were you thinking that boom, you were in alignment with this other person who was probably out of control in another world? What made you guys come together? And so for all your accidents or whatever you've ever had, you need to think about, what was I thinking beforehand, the days up to it, because nothing just happens to you. All right? You're warned all along the way up until the explosion, and then stuff goes awry. So for anything that you would call an accident, what were you thinking before, so that you were in the same vibration as this other crazy guy?
Well, is this back and forth, or are you?
No, this is back and forth. Yeah, this is.
I was in two or three accidents within 3 weeks in 1997, and I knew there was a reason. They weren't big or anything. I did get a ticket for one. It was lane changing, and I was turning right on red, and I looked, and there were no cars at all down it.
Mhm.
But when I turned right, I just took my time getting over to the left lane because I hadn't seen any cars. And this guy was speeding, and he came up and hit me in the rear.
Did you take some responsibility for that one?
It was, I was given a ticket
Mhm.
for not establishing myself.
Right.
each way.
And so for the ones that you weren't given a ticket,
Yeah. Well,
did you take like responsibility for like at least half of it?
Yeah, and I knew, and afterwards, I was thinking, now, I know why I've had these accidents.
Mm-hmm.
It was to teach me to pay attention, because I do not pay attention.
Fundamental.
Not observant.
Right.
I,
Which is okay. It's not a bad thing. It's like, okay, well, now I know I need to be more observant.
I used to say, if I walked home from work and came in the door and there was a pink elephant in my living room, I probably wouldn't even notice it. But I was, I knew, I thought, now that's why I need to pay attention.
Mhm.
I need to pay attention.
Mhm.
And so
You know what I learned
I tried.
when I was riding motorcycles, and this led over to driving. Nobody ever sees you. Bottom line, you have to be in your head.
Yeah.
They don't see me, pretty much. Even as a walker, riding a bicycle, riding a motorcycle, the first thing they always said was, "We didn't see you." Whether we were in a blind spot or you're busy doing something else, that was it. So I learned, nobody sees you. Unless I get eye contact and you nod, you don't see me. And so that's the lesson I learned from my close calls or whatever.
That's what
You
the
know?
guy said to get us. He said, I didn't see you.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, we were
So you wonder
driving straight.
what was going through his head the time before and the days before to get him in that space. Sound like he was wound up. But that's that law of attraction. If it's happening, you have something to do with it, and you just need to take a lesson from it. Like take 50% responsibility, or get your lesson. Okay, so I do intuitive reading, so I just pick up what's around me, and I'm also connected to this bank of information, right? And so, all right, so you had a little chance to think about this question. If you had to ask God one question, what would that be? Don't let me pick you out.
What is our true purpose?
What is your true purpose?
What is our,
What is our true purpose, or what is your true purpose?
our
Picky.
people that's out, right?
Because your true purpose and our true purpose are totally different. The same but different. Our true purpose is to raise the vibration around us and ourselves around us so that everybody can move up in consciousness. That is our purpose. As a whole, that's our purpose. And when I talk about raise the vibration for everybody, I mean everybody. Everybody or everything, because animals are included, trees are included. I call them tree people, animal people. Everybody is included. And then not everybody that you can see or you know as humans, but everybody who is everything else. So it's a large purpose. But even more important is, what is your purpose? Because once you get your purpose down and your purpose and your purpose, our purpose will work automatically or by default. So you got to find out, what is your purpose?
I knew that answer already.
Which is cool. That was a good question. Yeah, our purpose. What is your purpose? That should be why you come here. To find out what your purpose is. We can help you find out what your purpose is. Right? We can't make you into a good Christian or a good spiritualist or a good healer. We point you in a certain way, and then that's going to happen for you. But you got to find out what works for you, what makes you tick. Right? So once you get to figuring out what your purpose is, then everybody is helped. All the people you know and don't know of are helped. So that's our purpose. And again, we say humanity, like what is humanity? We want humanity to do this, to rise and be great, and what is humanity? And to me, that's some little abstract thing. Right? What is this person, this person, this person, this person? And then I can talk to you then. But sometimes I don't know what that is. I know what individual people are. We all make that up. People want to save the world. What do you mean by that? If we save each other, if you save yourself, the whole world saves itself, or is saved, or whatever it is, or is fixed, or we move through stuff. But to me, everything is individual. Every single thing is individual. Every single thing. What you think about somebody is individual to you. What you think about events is individual to you. Everything is. And so again, what is your purpose? Or what do you want to do with your time in this body? What do you want to do with that? Those are those questions you want to ask. What do I want to do? And again, there's always help waiting in the wings. Once you ask what it is, you don't even have to decide. Just asking brings more information into your box and into your little reality. Just asking. And then information comes by all different kinds of means, not by somebody talking or God talking to you or Spirit talking to you, but by you switching on the TV a headline comes up and you're like, ding, ding. So when you ask, don't tell Spirit, show me in this way. Just ask, and then your information will come to you in a barrage of ways, the way you least expect it. A child might say something to you, and you're like, oh, how did he hear that? Because he's more connected than pretty much all of us. Now, okay, so let's bring to this point. So, who should make decisions? The person that is joyous or the person that is not? That's the question.
Person that is not.
For me, I want the person that's feeling joyous and happy to make the decision. Because from that place, to be joyous and happy, you're in a positive place. Right? So I want that person to make that decision, whether it's me or that person. The person that is not so happy, I would rather them not make the decision until they get to a different place. And so, who's the most joyful people right now? Children. So they're more connected than us just because they're joyful. So just more good stuff comes to them versus the person that's like mad or pissed off or, or angry or jealous or what, which are usually the older people. So which ones do you want? That's why they say a child will lead you. Just because, and that's why some people say, I want to be a child again. You don't only want to be a child again. You just want to, not hold grudges. Like the kids, I can fight you today, and even in the afternoon, I'm going to be friends and we're going to play again. I'm not going to hold a grudge for 20 years, right? And so that's why people want to be children again. Be enamored and be just a rock. I had kids that look at this rock and they could play with that rock all day and look at it and be just with the rock. Right? That's the person you want making decisions. Just why people want to be a kid again, just because that vibration that they have. Right? We still got it in here somewhere, covered up with all the stuff we've been taught and heard and told. But yeah, that's why people want to be a kid again. Just that vibration. All right, so I'll take another question. Because if you're here, you have a question. You can't tell me you don't have a question. Some of you I'm going to put on the hot seat.
What time you want the hamburgers to be ready?
Peter's talking food.
We know where your mind.
All right, I'm going to pick you out. I'm going to ask you.
You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. What?
No, I sat, when you first asked the question, I sat and tried to think, what question what question would I really ask God? I mean.
Everything is set. Everything is cool.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes I think, I have a million questions for God.
Mm-hmm.
And other times I think, it's my job to answer my questions,
Exactly.
So, I guess the question I ask myself
Mhm.
on a regular basis
Mm-hmm.
is, why did I choose this? What was I supposed to get out of it? 'Cause-
Good then, and that's a good question. Why did you choose to incarnate as a human being, right?
And experience the things.
And experience the things. And so, who better to teach somebody about drama than somebody who's been through it? So you're a teacher on some level, and you're able, and sometimes your job hasn't even been discovered yet. And so you come in so you can experience limitation almost. You are this one piece of everything that knows everything, can do anything, creator of everything. And then at some point you choose to drop into a place, lower your into a place where you're limited by your surroundings. Yet inside of you is this thing that you don't remember. That's what you're trying to get back to. That's what you're trying to find while you're breathing, while you're in the body. Out of the body, yeah, you're back to it again. When you're out of your body and back to a spiritual place, you don't even think that thought, like, why am I here? Immediately you see what needs to be done and you say, I'm jumping back in the pool. Let me back in the pool. But then once you're in the pool, now you got to realize, oh, I still have this part of me that knows everything. There's just a veil. That's what they call it. There's just a veil between this part and what you call yourself. So your task is to connect with that thing while you're breathing in a human body. That's why you jump in. And it's easy. It's easy. If there's anything hard about it, it is dispelling all the stuff people told you. That's the hard part of it. That's it. You don't have to be a creator. You are by default. You don't have to be happy. You are by default. Unless you think you're not. You don't have to be the greatest you've ever been. You're it already. You just have to clear away the stuff that everybody's been telling you for as long as you can remember. And as long as you can't remember, those times that you can't remember, all that's leading up to this, where you're at right now. So it's not hard. It's hard because we say, I have to go to college, I have to go to school, college, doctorate, master's, doctorate, to be great. So that's inbred in us now, because I see everybody doing it. It gets promoted, right? Those people make more money. And so it's inbred that I got to go through all these steps to be great. Whereas you're great already. Most of the billionaires, some of them didn't even finish school. A lot of the millionaires didn't even go to school. Right? They decided at some point, I'm out, I'm doing what I'm going to do. Be focused, and they stuck with it, and then big things happen. Right? Because they weren't indoctrinated into a system that says, hey, you're this, you're that, you're not this, you're not that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with school. I'm just saying, just beware of the difference between the two.
There are some things on school. Not everything.
I mean, there's no wrong thing. There's no right thing. There's some things that work, some things that don't work. There are some things in school that do not work. I'll put it that way. Right? Because I love school because it taught me, and I was born in Barbados, so it was really strict English system. And so when I left there at 16, I could do French, Spanish, Latin at 16. Right? And so, which doesn't mean nothing right now because I can't speak any of it, but it taught me how to read and comprehend. I can read it and I know what it means to me, and so school was good for that. Right? It was good for that. You need to follow this thing out until it's done. So it's good for that. I start this thing, I finish it, okay. So you take that to you in life. I start this stuff, that's what you take from that. So there's not, school isn't bad to me. I can tell you why the kids are rebelling. Because it's boring. It's boring. And so when we came up, our level was a certain way. Everybody came up. Some came up in slavery, some came up picking cotton, some came up cutting cane. So there's a certain vibration that was all over the earth. Since then, be 60 next year, since then things have changed. We've gotten somewhat better. We perceive other things, right? So anybody that's born now don't have to go through the things we went through back then, because when they wake up, it's a different system. But we're still teaching the same old stuff. And what's our remedy? Let's medicate them. No, they're brighter than we were when we were that age. Right? More intuitive. There wasn't TV when we were coming up. We played outside. There weren't cell phones. Right? You know what our cell phone was? 2 cans with a little thing in the middle, with a twine in the middle. That was our cell phone. So they come up with different vibration, but we're still feeding them the same thing. And so they're bored, and they know at some level this isn't true. At some level where something says, don't believe it. Right? But you get in trouble if you say that. And so we need to twist it around what we teach our kids. Right? There's a school in India where you pick what you want to learn about. Right? There's meditation in school, but what do you want to learn about? And they don't have to carry 50 pounds of books in their back to go to stuff. Everything is there. And they live there for 4 years or so. And so what do you want to learn about? Then teachers will say, okay, here's what I'm going to help you learn. If you want to learn it, then you're going to learn it. If it's forced on you, the first thing is to buck against it. Right? I know more than you or what. So they get to pick what they want to learn about. And guess who learns faster? The people that are doing what they like. So that's the kind of school that you want. And that school is ran by their volunteers that come in and say, I'm going to do this. Volunteers, they live there. Of course, they get fed and all this. They volunteer, I want to do this. And so that's a different kind of system where I want to learn about, they listen to classical music as well. and that's one of the requirements, yoga, classical music, and a couple other things. Other than that, they get to choose what they want to know. And then it's not just the Bible. There's all the religions in the library. And they get to learn about whatever they want to learn about. Then you don't have to pick one and then be this for the rest of your life and ignore everybody else. Different kind of teaching system altogether. Right? That's what we need in school right now. Right? Meditation calms you down, relaxes you, lets you know that you're connected to everything else. We don't even do that here. You got to go to a spiritual class or a spiritual place for that to happen. To me, that should be in school. That's how you're going to calm your kids down. Be quiet and know that you can do all kinds of stuff. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, not even an hour or what. Little things like that we don't have in school. That's what we need in school if we want to raise great people. If you want to raise goats, they're going to follow you wherever you go, then there's a system that does that. If you want them to be great, everybody to be great, then you got to let them learn what they want to learn and give them access to everything. Everything, all religions, all of them. Because they all have something in common. They all have some truth in them. Right? Because the way it was, these people were in a religion, and somebody said something somebody didn't like, and they broke off and made their own. That happened here at this church in my lifetime in the last few years, where some people decide, I don't like what you're doing, or really, I don't like you. And so I'm going to go and branch off and make our own little deal, which is fine, you know what I mean? But call it what it is, So school has to change. Our idea of what school is has to change. Our idea of what grandparents are supposed to be needs to change. Right? I want my grandparents to take care of my kids. because they've been through all the stuff, and they're not tied intrinsically to this is my kid, and they're a little further, they're a little distance from that. So they hear the kids more. The kids hang out more. I want to play with you, you know. So grandparents, we need to twist that idea, you know, in the call this the universe. Civilizations are measured by how you treat your kids and how you treat your older people. And that will tell you if you're a level 1 or a level 3 civilization. I don't even think we're a 1 yet. Because we haven't learned that you need to take care of the elderly people. They shouldn't want for anything. Right? We shouldn't just kick them out and put them in a certain place, and then all that knowledge they have, you're just kicking to the side, and so in your head, also you're kicking yourself to the side, because you're going to get that age after a while. So again, you're kicking yourself by doing that to other people, and the way you treat your kids it needs to change drastically, because if your kids are teaching you. Don't get it twisted. Your kids are teaching you. But we haven't been taught that along our way. You learn from your kids. They say things because they're off the cuff and free, and they're not scarred by years and years of schooling, and you're a bad kid, and you got to pay the rent, and accidents, and sick. They're not scarred by that yet. So we got to treat them with more reverence. Again, because they're going to grow up to be who? You. So you have to treat the kids just with more reverence than ever. All right? That's how and so right now our civilization is, let's say, a level 1, where there are level 5 and 6 civilizations. And I can talk about them if you want. But okay, so I'll take another question. Again, the question is, if you had one question you can ask God, what would it be? You want to ask him. All right, what is it?
Just want an assurance that when we die, that we do return to the source. It's like, I don't mind going through all of this as long as I can just go home.
So, your premise is that there's something other than physical and non-physical.
Right.
Because there's only physical and there's non-physical. They may be a time period of recalibrating and getting back into the energy, but there's no. So are you trying to say that you want to make sure you don't go to hell, or you don't stand in purgatory, or you don't go?
No, that's never been in my conscience.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I'm kind of hoping there's a central point. Like if we're all of this,
Mm-hmm.
but this is all that this reality is, all that we can see and feel. But there's so much more that we sense and perceive.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, that there's just an origin in that that's not on that scale. That is that scale, but not in dead center. It's like,
So there is so we agree that there's one source. And out of that source, everything else comes. Every single thing else comes. So if there's one source, you're a part of that source. You are that source already. Without a doubt, if we say we're from the one source. And so your experience now is that a piece of you came off and became a human. Not that you separated, just like a growth. You as a human being, you're not disconnected at all. So when you give up this garment, you're back to what is the source, without a doubt. you have so much power that you can say, well, I believe that all my life there's a hell and there's a heaven. I believe there are angels, and you keep thinking that all your life, and so when you give up your garment, all this thinking goes into play still. Whatever you're thinking, you're going to project as a movie once you drop the body, once you drop this garment. And so that you will project that image. It's not even real.
Right.
Whether you want to see angels or God, and you can do that as long as you like. And then once you realize that's a figment, then on to the next step you will go. The last step in transition is that you're going to say, yes, I want to come back. I know I want to go forward. Always a choice. You chose your mom and daddy. You choose the time you're going to transition. All a choice. And when you're out of the body is still, as a source, you still get to create whatever it is you want. No matter what it is, you create it as you want it to be. But there's no so you transition. You drop this body, and the next thing is you have to be aware that I don't have a body anymore. That takes some people a little bit of time. That takes some people a long time. That's why some people may say, they may call them ghosts or demons or whatever, because they don't know I don't have a body anymore. So the first step is you got to realize I don't have a body, and I can go anywhere I want, zip, 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 zip. All that takes getting used to, depending on what you're thinking, every breath you take. So you get to figure out, okay, I'm out of the body. Okay, and there are people that, there's energies around you now that you'll be aware of when you drop this body. You call them guides, angels, gatekeepers, spirit, whatever it is, then those are always around you. They never left. We think they're leave because we don't get to see them right now. We think they're over there or something, but they're with you all the time. They never left. And so when you leave the body, then you get to realize, oh, these people were always here. Right? And then, of course, you go through what is called your life review. When you get to see that those things that you did, how they affected everybody else. So you get to say, well, I did this to this one person, but that one person hurt that other person, and it went on, but just by your little pebble that you did. It hit the water, and so you get to review all those things. Right? And then you get to say, do I want to go back and do that or not? And then your last choice again is, do you want to continue and drop the body, or do you want to go back? Again, it's a choice, always a choice, always your choice. There's not a time that is not your choice, ever. Right? But I went through all that Christian stuff, not that it's a bad thing, but it's, hell, they scared you into being good. That's what that was about. You're going to go to hell, you better do your homework. I did my homework. But that was just a ploy to get you to do something. A lot of that stuff is a ploy. That's why you want to go back, and I did this a couple of weeks ago. When you start talking about Jesus and God, you want to go back and see what was happening around that time. What made that man that man? What were they thinking? What were they eating? How were they living before you believe everything about that period? The government lies and hides stuff. Functionally, they've been doing it back then too. Everything repeats itself, It's just, everything is in cycles. And nature tells us that. Everything is in cycles. seasons. Everything comes back around because you don't recognize it. But once you recognize it, that's why the Buddha said you get off the karmic wheel. Once I recognize that everything comes around, I notice it and I realize, oh, I'm going to do certain things because it'll come back around. So I'm just going to do good things because I know it's going to come back around. And then after a while, you're off the wheel. The ones stuck on the wheel are the ones that do the same thing over and over and expect, things to just, magically change. I'm going to do negative things, and sooner or later, I'm going to do something good. So things keep coming around. They're just lessons. They're just lessons. They're just lessons. That's all this is somewhat school. So you can learn the greatness of who you are and who everybody else is. Not just you, everybody else. Right? Somebody else for the hot seat? Questions for me as I am connected. Your question in the corner? Yes.
I want to know what God is.
You want to know what God is?
Is it an essence? Is it an alien? Is it all-powerful being? I feel like it's more of an intelligence. I feel in my heart.
God is whatever you think it is. Right now. Right? Sometimes I don't like that word because as soon as you put that word in, for me, it brings back old memories of the man in the sky with a beard and all that kind of stuff that we were taught. So I don't like the word. And then as I've grown and studied and learned and connected, I have to redefine what that is. Because some people say God is jealous, and you have to follow God or else, and so I have to redefine what it means to me. Because I know of source, as we were talking about, and that's not a person, that's just energy. And then out of that energy comes beings that can do stuff. And when I say do stuff, I don't mean magically do stuff. I mean by understanding that all the natural laws, they can do stuff. Create things out of nothingness. Right? Babaji used to do that. Out of nothing, he would create bread and stuff and feed people. Out of the ether. So it's not magic, so people can do that. And so to me, there's source. There's another level of creator beings, right? And then there's elements that go back and forth and run errands, and then there's us. Not that it's one is higher than the other one. I'm just explaining it. Everything flows into each other, right? But there's not somebody up there that says, if you don't do that, you're grounded. There's nobody that does that. If you don't do that, it's because of you. And if something happens to you, it's because of you. And if you're not happy, it's because of you and not the neighbor. Right? So God is whatever you want it to be. Right? They're quote unquote, since you call the word aliens, I get to open my mouth about it. They are those, and I don't call them aliens, they're space brothers. Because when you say aliens, people think, oh, they're going to destroy us, or they already have this predisposition as to what it is, because we've been fed that. They're space brothers, and they have a little more technology than we do. If you go back into the Aztec time and the Egyptian time, all this stuff was happening then. They may not call them aliens, right? Why do you think the pyramids are pointed towards, Dogon or Sirius, or Arcturus or the Pleiades? Why do you think monuments that we can't even build now are pointed in those directions? Because we need to learn about them, right? And so we're all aliens. If you check your DNA, there's some of it in there. From from many civilizations that said, okay, in this experiment, we're going to give you some more DNA. Here you go. And so we have all that DNA, all that information in our DNA. So yeah, you're aliens too. Because you have that blood, that information within your DNA. And there's nothing to be scared of. Again, I can't say this enough. You're the most powerful thing around. As a human being with God inside, you're the most powerful thing around. There are civilizations that have that can walk on water. It's not magic, just natural law. There are civilizations that can go places in minutes, light years away. It's just technology. It's just technology. Right? And I'm going to say this again. I'll stop here unless you got another question. It's just technology. Look at your cell phone, which can carry all your music. So I used to be a DJ. I'm still a DJ, right? And I have all these albums, vinyl albums, milk cartons full, right? So there are 25 boxes of milk cartons full of albums. They all can fit on my cell phone. It's just technology when you see all these people posting pictures and stuff of things they don't know what it is. It's just technology. There's no magic in it. It's just technology. And some people don't want us to get that technology.
Which, by the way, uses a crystal.
It uses, and did you know that on top of the Google building, they have a box probably this big that runs their electricity? Don't hear about that. Now, if you have that money, you can get those things, but all that's what this technology brings to us. Tesla talked about it, worked on it, free energy. They don't want us to have that. Because the energy comes from what you call dead air or in between us. That's where it comes from. It's there already. We just got to harness it. They don't want us to have that. But as a human being, you've got the energy and the propensity to connect with all that stuff. That's why you heard of your pineal gland, right? Your pineal gland, right? That's how you connect to everything else. And that's why you're fed fluoride, because it calcifies and covers up your pineal gland. Then you don't have connection. You don't hear as well as you could. And that's why they feed us certain things, because it kind of dumbs us down. Right? So we don't awaken to the fact that, I can create anything. So I don't really need you, government. That's what they don't want you to know. That you can heal yourself by just not watching TV for a month. How hard is that? If you don't watch no TV for a month, no news for a month, that means no negativity, because the news is 99% negativity. None of that. Right? You don't hear the drama from other people. That's how they feed you stuff and dumb you down. Then you can heal yourself, because all you got to do is connect back to what runs you. It's easy, but it's not easy, because they keep feeding us stuff for years. And it's before we even came along, all of us in the room, they were feeding stuff. So it's just a continuation. So we just got to wake up to what's real, what's good with us, and create stuff. And it's really easy. Again, the hardest part is peeling away the layers of pucky that surround us that we've been fed all the time. Yes.
Well, this is a little off that topic a little bit, but I've wondered for a long, long time, when one charts one's course for incarnation, chooses his, everything he wants, that person, that being to be on this plane, one of the things he chooses are his looks, how he wants to look. And when he chooses, it's his choice, or her choice, or whatever. But when the child is born, it will have it will look like maybe one parent or another. And how does
All right, let me stop you.
DNA,
Mhm.
the DNA is there.
Right.
It's gonna resemble a relative.
Correct. So you don't really choose. You don't choose how you're going to look, because on a spiritual level, you're not thinking about looks, which is a human deal. Your looks are already picked out for you by your great grandfather, and because it's information that's stored in the DNA.
But one of the things you choose, besides your religion, all of your life things, are your parents.
Yeah. So if you're choosing your parents already have a look. If you're choosing your parents, the look has nothing. You're already going. It's decided already by your DNA. DNA is just information.
So when you choose your parents, that's the look you're gonna
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you're in a soul family. One day you're the father, one time you're the mother, one time you're your child, and so you're coming around to get all these group family things worked out. But you don't sit there and think, I want to be pretty. You think, I want to go back down and do the best I can. And I want to learn certain things, and this family will do it for me. Right? All the potentials are there, and this family will help me get there. But it's not about this when you don't have a body, it's not about this, because you're not thinking about this. We only think about this once we come into it. We drop into a body and we got to learn to use it and stuff, and then and this only happens when you're small. This is when you're grown up, you think about looks, because then you get to look at other people and be like, I want to be like that, or they get this, I want to be like that, and so that's not a choice. How you look before you come into it, or even when you're a kid.
I'm sorry, my guides are going crazy, so I have to talk.
Okay.
But it's just, they're saying that I should give a reminder that the choices that are made before we incarnate are about lessons.
Right.
They're not about the details, the minutia of how you look, or you might say, I'm gonna work on vanity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you might be pretty or you might be ugly. Like, you don't make those choices,
Right. Because you don't have a body.
You're making lesson
Yeah.
choices.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you're saying, I'm gonna work on being impoverished, or I'm gonna work on being rich, or I'm gonna
Right.
work on this, like,
Right.
it's not
Just your
the
lesson.
minutia
Right.
of,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
look like this.
right.
I'm gonna have this car. I'm gonna
Right.
marry this person.
Right.
It's not the details or the specifics.
Right. No. It's yeah. There's potentialities of whatever you want to be. That's what you come with. All these potentials already set. Then you just get to choose. You just get to choose. And again, you may get a reading from somebody today, and then you change your mind on how you think tomorrow. And so what? You change everything. Not that the psychic or medium was wrong. You change your direction. You got in your car and said, I'm moving to this lane. And down that lane you go. Everybody does
If you
that.
master lessons, then there's more lessons.
Yeah, there's
Right, so the choices then become
Right.
they go in that direction.
Yeah.
Right, so it's an infinite process.
Right.
And if you choose not to master the lesson, then there's an infinite path that way.
Right. Yes.
So it's
Yes.
not like
Yeah.
predestined in the details.
Yeah, right. The-
It's infinite possibilities.
Yes. There's a I always say this, there's a basic program you come with. Depending on the time you were born or where you were born, you know, the position of the planets, there's a basic program. You call it astrology or what? It's a basic program. It will run and run until you take your last breath and you'll be good. Yet in between, you get to choose whatever you want to be. Some people be like, well, Pisces shouldn't be with Scorpios, and that's just a basic program. You can be with anybody you want to be with and make it work. Yvonne and I were sitting at a Chinese restaurant. The calendar is on, right? I'm the dog and she's the rat or something. Y'all not supposed to be together. Oh, we gonna get divorced because piece of paper said we're not supposed to be together. It's just a basic program, and then from there you jump off into whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, you know. And again, if you're in a human body, you already mastered physical mastery, spiritual mastery. You already mastered all that stuff. If you're in a human body, you're not just brand new. And so you've already been an artist, a singer, a player. You've already been all that stuff. All those potentials are there already. You just got to choose which one you want to do right now. And who do you want to help right now? And what you do, how will that help everybody? Yourself, of course, first. Everybody else will be helped by default. Because you really can't help anybody. Right? You just can help yourself. And then your energy expands. And by the law of resonance, your energy entwines with the next person. And if your energy is higher and theirs is lower, the lower by default will rise up towards the higher. That's why we want to be inspired to be angels. Or when people see angels, they say, I was all love and I couldn't do anything and I melt back into it. That's because by default, the lower energy always rises to the higher energy. By default. So that's why when you're in a good place, then, you know, other people kind of feel it, you know. And some people, empaths, they can feel people's stuff. And they're up here, and then they feel this lower stuff, and a lot of them come down to it. Because they want to help. And because of their brought up, see, we call it. How you were brought up. I want to help. Yet, as an empath, you got to keep your energy. And when they come to you for readings and help, you got to keep your energy so they rise up. They see stuff that I want to be. I like the feeling. That's how everybody changes, not by you wanting them to change. And if they move away, then it's up to them if they want to keep that vibration or not. Do they know how or not? But the lower will always rise to the higher by default. I got to figure out what that law is. The law of resonance or the law of vibration or something like that. But the lower always rises up to the higher. Right? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Can I also answer your question?
Sure.
My guys want me to do that too.
Do you want to stand here?
Oh, Lord.
Yes, you do. Come on.
Oh, let's stand.
Yes.
I'm just.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh no! Wait a minute. You're videoing.
I am. All right, you can stand here so I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, I just want to say that I wanted to answer your question about the one question for God.
Okay.
Because for me, all questions come from the appearance of separation.
Correct.
So in the full presence of God or source or whatever you want to call it, there are no more questions.
Correct.
There just is.
Right.
And so it is this illusion that we have of separation that causes us to question. And when we want assurance, we're asking from a questioning place, but really assurance can be found in one moment of stillness. But that one moment of stillness may take us our entire lifetime to be able to get to, because the illusion of separation creates distraction, depression, diversion. It creates all these things that take us away from stillness. So if you can get to the still place, you'll have all the assurance you need, because the illusion of separation falls away. That's it.
Makes sense to me. Totally. You know how I can answer your question? Because the answer is in the question already.
Well,
That's how I can answer all your questions.
and we come here specifically for the illusion.
We come here to, yeah,
We come
here to
knowing
look-
the veil is in place.
we come connected, and we come to get rid of the veil. We come to realize that there's a veil, and I am in control of the veil. We don't remember it because we're not taught this stuff. They're not, as a baby, you don't hear people, your mom and daddy talking this stuff, so you don't even pick it up. Chances are they don't even know it. So again, it's a little further away, but we come here to, you know what, when kids are born, that's the moment we should be like, let me watch the kid and look at the kid, and that feeling, that's what you're trying to find when you're grown up and go through your stuff. That you know, and you know, like, where's that baby going when he's closing his eyes? You know, those are little lessons for us, because they're going back and forth between physical and non-physical. You never stop doing that either. When you're grown up, you're still, when you go to sleep, you do more than when you're awake. So are you awake now or are you asleep now? I said that this morning. I'm awake. In the dream, I'm awake because I know it's a dream, and I know I can control whatever's in the dream. You know, I know sometimes messages come. What do you want? How can you help me? You know, what's the lesson here? I'm awake in the dream, and I'm awake right now. Most people aren't awake right now. Eyes are open, but they're not awake. Again, because when you are awake, you don't have the questions, because you realize, I got all the questions. I got all the answers. I'm connected. But when you think you're separated, then you have questions. And the only question is, how do I get back? When you fall into a body, the only thing is, how do I get back to that feeling? And you have relationships and jobs and modalities just trying to get back to that stillness she's talking about. Babies have it. Older people that are close have it because they realize, oh yeah, I'm getting close to this thing, or I just woke up from this thing. But in the middle, yeah, we're still in it, still. Right? Anybody confused? I like confusion. Confusion is good, because then you get to think, it resets everything you're about. And then you get to say, well, let me go research what he's saying. What's that name he was talking about? What's that book? That's all I'm here for, to get you to go and start looking for that stuff. And then your guys are waiting for you to ask a question, waiting for you to decide what you're going to do. Even if what you choose is not working and you choose something else. They don't say, bad boy. They're like, okay, did you get a lesson from that one? Let's go to this one. Even if it was 1 month that you wanted to look at that thing. You know? Anybody hungry? Okay, so we got lots of food out there. So what I will do is, if somebody can pass this for me, please. Donations. I'm available if you want to talk to me. If you want a healing, we're going to set up the chairs so we can do that. But today's about You know, find somebody that you don't know and talk to them today. Because if they're here, they have something to share with you. You're not here by accident. Even if it's your first time here, you know, you're not here by accident. Okay? Thank you for letting me run my mouth. That's the longest time I run my mouth in a long time.